What is up, sports fans? We are back for another episode of The Fan and the End. I'm your host, as always, Steven Rychel. A little bit different layout today, as Ben Troupe, but had a funeral he had to go to, lost someone close to him, so he's paying his respects today. So me and Mr. Marvin Powell the third is going to hold down the house for everyone today. We're going to have some fun on here as we always do when we're on the Fan of the End. Marvin, how are we feeling today, my brother?
Listen, feel good. It's the end of football season, so that's a real thing for me. I got to process that, and I'll be honest with you, it's always been a little depressing to me. Once they have the Super Bowl because there's no more football. And I'm a football junkie. I need it. So outside of dealing with that, I'm fortunate. And I'm blessed, man.
Yeah, it's always rough at this time of year, but it's the thing about football, man. It's technically never an off season. There's always something to talk about,
Yeah,
regardless if you're Eagles fan, if you're a Giants fan, if you're a Jets fan, if you're a Cowboys fan, if you're a Raider. There's always something to talk about. So
yeah, no, it's definitely become 24/7, 365, which I love, obviously. But I like watching them boys get low. You know what I'm saying? I like watching live football and seeing them boys get out there and compete. So yeah, man. Now I got to switch gears, go to basketball, which is cool. It's just cool.
uh, Eddie's just letting you know he's preparing for his personal Christmas, the
I like that, Eddie. I like that. Hey, if you need a spot in your fantasy league, let me know.
NFL. Always love Eddie chiming in, but before we get too deep into this episode is brought to you by Fight Wax. Fight Wax is the ultimate skin defense for your athletes and your person with an active lifestyle. Helps treat cuts, swelling, scrapes, abrasion, rejuvenates and restores stretched skin. Customers have used for soreness, stiffness recovery, designed to help athletes in all active lifestyles. Provides an ultra non-silky, non-greasy feel. Deep hydration helps skin care, helps fight dry skin. Customers use for eczema, psoriasis, and other skin disorders. Again, guys, the Fight Wax soap is coming. They got stuff for your pets, man. Their site officially launched, so you got our code. Use that code South15FW when you check out. Show us some love. Show the guys at Fight Wax some love, and it's gonna be another fun partnership that we're working with. And that being said, is anyone who places an order this month. When I was at Knucklemainia this weekend, I got some just a few signatures, from some of the fighters. So what I'll probably be doing is I'll be sending Lincoln a little care package. I'm going to send them, some of the stuff that we already have, the signed books, cards, things of that nature. But also got this glove. So what we'll probably do is anyone who uses the code and spends over $50-$60 or whatever will be kind of entered into a pool, and at the end of the month we'll send an additional care package out. So guys, please make sure you're heading over there and check and Fight Wax out. And as we're talking about Knucklemainia, the funny, I got that one glove, but I ran into another one of my sponsor friends, and he's over from HKA USA. He's a gear company, and we got two signed gloves from a whole bunch of the guys on the card. Some of the guys that weren't on the card, some of the champions that were there. Bretton Hart, Kai Stewart, stuff like that. So we got some fun stuff working with. Keep an eye out for HKA USA. We're going to be getting ready to do some type of either a sponsorship partnership type deal we're going to work out over the next month. Keep your eyes out on that. So again, it was a fun weekend for me. A little bit of craziness. Anytime you're dealing with the combat sports world is a little nuts. But I did want to touch on one thing on it. And me and you were talking about this right before we got on air, and it was a great event this weekend. Had crazy nonsense in the stands. Eddie Alvarez and Platinum Mike Perry got into it ringside. There was fights in the stands. The fights on the in this, in that venue where was some were good, some were bad, some were great, and but the one thing that kind of stuck out for me, and I actually wrote an article, sent it to Scott and Kane, hopefully it'll be out in the next day or so, that Andrei Arlovsky, who's been, is a name synonymous with combat sports. He's fought in Fedor Emelianenko. He's fought in the UFC. He's fought in ONE FC. He's fought for, PFL MMA / World Series of Fighting. He's fought for, he's now a 3-sport world champion. Combat Sambo champion, UFC champion, and now bare knuckle champion. And the funny thing about this past weekend was when he won his title, it was literally 21 years and 2 days from the day that he became a UFC champion. He's now 47 years old. So 21 years to the day, basically, he wins his third championship. And me and you were talking about it off air. He's also a 3-time cancer survivor, beat cancer in 2010, 2012, and this past year, 2025, I had another bout with cancer, having, cancer removed from his kidneys and 28 lymph nodes or something like that. So he's a walking Disney story, a Disney movie, Hallmark movie, however you might have it. Somebody's got to get rights to his biopic sooner or later, because his moniker, the Pitbull, the only reason he does it, he's a dog lover. So obviously don't put him in the room with Michael Vick. I'll just say that. I don't think that would be a wise decision, but he's a very rare human being, and talked about it in ring at about people fighting for cancer. Just keep on fighting. Don't quit. Life is beautiful. And then there was a moment when they were doing the post-fight presser, and a couple of the guys were asking him about it, where I think it just hit him, like what he had accomplished, what he had gone through, and he just started breaking down a little bit, put the microphone down, took a second to kind of compose himself, and then continue with the question. But it just goes to show you, it doesn't matter how big, how strong you are. Just sometimes the being in the moment, you don't even realize it till everything starts slowing down, and just like, wow, I just accomplished that. I just did that. Wow. So Andrei Arlovsky, hats off to him. 47 years old, beating Ben Rothwell for the third time in his career on the biggest stage via knockout in Philadelphia, in front of a new record for the Xfinity Center, Wells Fargo Center for combat sports. Over 18,200 fans in there. It was an electric environment. Obviously, I know you're not the biggest combat sports buff or anything like that. But, obviously, you can identify with the medical stuff that he was going through, being as your wife was just kind of going through stuff like that. It's kind of why I wanted to kind of bring that up with you today. But,
yeah, no, definitely, man. This is not even a sports story. This is a life story. This is something that anybody around the world could appreciate and understand, because cancer has impacted either you directly or someone that you know and love, no doubt about it. So just what a story of perseverance, mental fortitude, toughness, resiliency, like true heart. Everybody talks about having to come from the bottom and having to be gritty, man. But this guy really lived it, multiple times. And, cancer is something has been so devastating to so many people. When you hear a story like this, and not only did he beat cancer, but this guy, this is what he's done professionally, with all of that. And it's remarkable. It really is. And, these are the stories that I'm happy to hear coming out of the sports world, where you have so many negative headlines with athletes, that I think are unnecessary sometimes, but that's another story. What a great story. And you're right. This is a Disney movie. This is teaching people, teaching kids, teaching everybody to fight on, to continue, to battle, to not give up. And it's a reminder that, these outcomes come true, positive outcomes, outcomes that, you think are just, Hail Mary type of stuff. They happen. It happens, man, but you got to believe. And I love the story. You're right. I'm not really caught up on all the fighting and stuff like that. But I can definitely I definitely understand the story. It resonates with me, and I just think it's a great story of a guy who's really a champion on levels that go beyond sports.
Yeah, it's again, it's just one of those things. And here's the other thing: like he didn't have normally when people fight cancer, it's like 2-3 years before they kind of get back in there if they're an athlete kind of doing their sport. I think that the most time he's been off during that period of time was like 6 months.
Wow.
So in less than 6 months, he's back in there and he's fighting people.
Yeah,
He's had, I'm pretty sure he had 2 to 3 fights over that period of time. So not only was he battling cancer, beating cancer, he was still being super active in his given profession. So again, man, just no quitting that man. Hats off to him. Hats off to Dave Feldman. Some of the announcements they made were actually really cool at the event. They're going to be doing a BKFC. It's like they're going to be doing a cruise in 2027 where they're going to have fans kind of have a chance to book book a cruise with the athletes. That's going to go from Florida to the Bahamas, and they're going to have when they get to the Bahamas, they're going to have an actual fight there.
Right.
So that's actually pretty cool. And then they announced kind of more or less their own version of the Ultimate Fighter, so to speak. They announced that BKFC Fight Club that's going to be done here in Philadelphia at the famed 2300, the arena, the famous ECW arena. And they're going to be doing a 2 different weight class tournament with eight guys on it. They're going to do a one round 2-minute fight. Winner moves on, loser goes home or goes back into the pool. When they're fighting for $100,000 contract, these guys are going to either be debuting for BKFC or only have one fight. And the last kicker to it is no one's going to know who they're fighting until they're walking out to the ring.
Wow.
So
no time to prep, no time to
it's basically like, you're just gonna have to trust your skills and leave it all out. And the other thing is just you only have one round. You have 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes.
Wow. Yeah, that's different, man. Like I told you off camera, those are different caliber men. You know what I mean? Them dudes is built different, and I love it, man. I love it. Again, you see the sport growing, man. I promise you, as I go through all my channels, I'm seeing bare knuckle. I'm seeing, this stuff coming up more and more and more, man. So there's definitely a desire from fans out there. There are people out there who love this, and sounds like somebody's gonna have a good time on this cruise.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah, like I said, it's they made some fun announcements. So hats off to BKFC employees, Dave Feldman, the fighters. I think it was a great night, and they made some fun announcements. We're gonna see what some of the future holds for some of these guys who they get matched up with next. But it was definitely a fun one. And speaking of fun, man, I definitely got to get into it with you. Super Bowl Sunday just passed. So
yeah,
how happy are you for your boy now?
Listen, my Jets were out of it, my Saints were out of it. So then it just came down to the fact that Sam Darnold is the first USC Trojan to ever start in a Super Bowl at quarterback. And with that said, that's all I needed. So, yeah, my man Sam came through, played aggressive out the gate. I loved it. He played with no fear. And, Seattle just jumped on them Patriots, boy. It was they had no answers for Seattle at all. But I was so happy for Sam, so happy for the Trojan family. It's a big deal to us. We pride ourselves, on our program and on our Trojans, the pros who were Trojans and who were NFL Trojan. And Sam, Sam played great, man. He did. He played good enough to win. Made some plays. Didn't have any turnovers. I mean, he represented well, and he gave Seattle. He put them in a great position to go out there and win that game. So yeah, man, super happy. Super proud of him. Excited for him in regards to what's going to come next. Because obviously, you win the Super Bowl as a quarterback, you're going to probably get a pay raise. So I'm happy for him on that front. Want to see if he's going to stay in Seattle. I know he's under contract. I'm sure he will. But yeah, big day for that region. Big day for the Seattle Seahawks. Big day for the Trojan family. Huge day for Sam Darnold, who I was hoping would get MVP, but Kenneth Walker went out there and ran for almost 200 yards. So, yeah.
It should have been because that they had a penalty wipe away a 70-yard touchdown for him right within the last I think it was the last 4 minutes of the game or something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it definitely should have been Kenneth Walker, and it basically played out exactly how I said it. I wasn't trying to disrespect the Patriots, so I basically said I'm going with the veteran here. I think Sam Darnold did what he had to do. Did exactly what I'm like. He just doesn't. He just has to not be terrible. Not put him in a position to lose the game. Yeah. That's exactly what he did.
Yeah. No, definitely.
That Seattle defense was going to be too much. They were. So I mean, it's one of those things where we don't always get it right, but sometimes we know what we're talking about. Sometimes, people.
Yeah, and listen, Sam's not. He's used to the big stage, man. Don't forget he had that epic Rose Bowl against Penn State when he was at USC when they had Saquon Barkley. Exactly, Saquon went off in that game, but Sam the man came through strong. He was clutch for us, and that's kind of been who he is, I think, and. Unfortunately, he gets drafted to my Jets. They don't know how to handle a guy like this, And
I'm glad you mentioned that one. Hold on, I got to pull this one up.
The Jets drafted just wasted him, and then he had the comment about seeing ghosts, and people just went wild with that. And but all he was doing at the same time was getting better, being bounced around.
You mentioned your Jets, right? You mentioned Did you see his comments that when they asked him about his time there, he always looks at himself and feels like he could have done a lot more to help that franchise. So even after everything's said and done, he puts the time with the Jets on his shoulders. Doesn't sit there and said my coach didn't put me in the right position. They didn't give me my players or anything like that. Just shows you the type of man that he is, because it's just like, listen, I didn't do right by that franchise.
Yeah, well, listen, this is really just leadership. This is him understanding, showing accountability. And just being a leader. And at the end of the day, we all know that it wasn't just on Sam Darnold. It just wasn't. I mean, whether you want to talk about defense or ownership or whatever it may be, it wasn't all on Sam, but he understands as a quarterback, as a starting quarterback in this league, there are no excuses. At the end of the day, if the quarterback does well, you give credit to the teammates and coaches. If it doesn't go well, you take on that responsibility and you show accountability from a quarterback leadership position. And that's what you see here, really. Listen, that's what you want to see. You want a guy that has that kind of attitude, toward the mission, that really feels like it's all on him and he's all in. And, so I don't think he shortchanged the Jets in any way. I believe Sam went out there and played hard. But I think he's just saying he could have been better. And as a Jet fan, I'm telling you, okay, fine, Sam could have been better, but a lot of parts around him could have been better. So it's unfortunate that the Jets let him go, because they obviously, at the time, they picked the right guy. They had the right pick. At the number 3 pick, I think it was, they made the right call. They picked a Super Bowl caliber winning quarterback. Boom. And it breaks your heart if you're a Jet fan watching that, because listen, Pat Mahomes and Lamar Jackson messed it up, because they got these GMs wanting to see success and MVPs in your second and third year, period. Because that's what Lamar, between Super Bowl MVP and league MVP, Lamar and Pat, they came out the gate balling in year 2, 3, and 4, and some of these quarterbacks need time to develop. Some of these organizations aren't really built and ready for right now, even with the young quarterback. And that's kind of, the Jets were involved in all that. So we're part of all that. So it sucks, man, to be a Jet fan and watch your guy go win a championship with someone else. But, great game.
It's been a common factor in New York over the last few years. You see Saquon go win the Super Bowl last year. You see Sam win the Super Bowl this year. So MetLife fans are not happy watching their guys go on to other teams and be not just successful, super successful. They're champions now. It's a rough one.
Yeah, and it's same with and with Saquon as well, like you're saying, man. Situation where he goes somewhere else and wins them a Super Bowl, and it's just like, that's tough, bro.
Yeah,
that's tough,
It is. And we were just talking about about raises. Definitely Seattle's definitely going to have to throw some money Sam Darnold's way. I don't know if you've seen this. I don't know if you heard of this. Is kind of the topic I wanted to kind of go over today. But Sam Darnold, his bonus for winning the Super Bowl, 178K. Problem is the athlete tax for the state of California charged him $249,000 to play in it. So, in all intents and purposes, Sam Darnold lost $71,000 by having to play a Super Bowl in the state of California. Let's also wrap our head around this one. Where's the Super Bowl played next year, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, that's right, in the state of California again. So, you're an NFLPA rep. Would you sit there and say, like, listen, until California gets this thing figured out, we can't have players losing money going to go play a Super Bowl. We can't.
Right. Yeah. I'm the secretary for the Atlanta chapter of the NFLPA. I am. Let me give our viewers some context here. So what you probably don't realize, and I didn't realize this either, my rookie year, I'm playing for the New Orleans Saints in 1999. And when tax season came around, I realized that I got to pay tax in every state where we played an NFL game. That's how it goes for these players. They have to pay taxes for every game they play. They got to pay that state tax. So California obviously is dreadful. We understand the situation and just what it costs to live out there, and how they tax, and people are leaving California left and right. So that's a horrible situation, man. It is. They absolutely have to address this, whether it's in the next CBA or for something they can jump on immediately. But that's just a horrible situation to be basically have to pay to hit your bonus. You're paying money once you hit your bonus. You're not getting money, you're paying money. It's kind of weird like that. So, yeah, I hate to see that. Fortunately, this next contract that Sam's going to get, don't worry, it's going to fix all that. This guy's looking. Listen, the going rate right now is 50 mil minimum, So right. Even if he ends up at 40 plus, I think 45 plus, he'll be fine, man. But yeah, that athlete tax is a real thing. Fortunately, these guys make enough money to where it's they're going to be okay. We'll just say, but yeah, that thing is lopsided. They got to figure that out.
Yeah, they definitely do. Obviously, we have a few comments here. That's because California bases the jock tax off your yearly salary. Will the NFLPA stop letting the Super Bowl be in California? I'll say this much: no. Considering the next one is going to be in California, I think what they'll probably do is something along the lines of, like, Marvin is sitting there and say, like, since this is becoming a real public thing for the NFL, obviously with Sam Darnold having to lose $71K playing in the Super Bowl, that moving forward, they're probably going to stay away from California until this thing kind of next season. After next season, probably I think they'll stay away until something's done. But this comment's great. When people are leaving California faster than the GM of Michigan, that says a lot.
Yeah, listen, they're making so much money at these Super Bowls, whether it's in California, wherever. I don't see them getting away from that, but I do see this being brought up and discussed again in the next collective bargaining agreement, or even sooner, because it doesn't make sense. You want these guys to benefit and to be rewarded for hitting bonuses and just being outstanding in what they do.
I'm going to take another part of this, right? So we're talking about the pros. All right. So how many big colleges are out there in California? So if you have guys, getting money like we do with in college football now, are they having to pay taxes playing college football?
They do. Yeah. That's something that's been brought up. You live in California and you pay California taxes, period.
So they're also taking NIL money from these kids too.
These kids are signing NIL deals and making money off their name, image, and likeness. Yes. And being taxed. Yeah, of course. They're being taxed. It is what it is. Welcome to the adult world. You know what I'm saying? So Sam going to get his, and in certain states, he's going to get a little bit more, But it's the trade-off, though. It's the trade-off. You get to live in California. It's beautiful out there, man. It's beautiful in a lot of places. I know that, but man, from someone who's from there, lived there a lot, and seen all the different parts of Southern California, it's beautiful, man. Only thing that compares is Miami, paradise. South Florida.
Yeah, well, I think that's where most players are going to want to kind of wind up going when they see this. Like, I think that's going to be a lot of problems for these California teams. Obviously, you can pay them.
See, we talking about USC has the number one recruiting class in 2026.
I'm glad you brought up your USC.
Number one recruiting class.
I did see something I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on. We were just talking about, your number one recruit here, right?
Yeah, Luke Wayfield.
Yeah. So how excited are you for this young man?
Yeah, Luke Wayfield. This guy was the number one player in New Jersey. And then after his most recent All-Star performance in the All-Star game, I think it was the Navy All-American game, he was elevated to the number one player in the country overall for 2026. He is an elite pass rusher, powerful, great bend, great feet. And he's someone who will definitely be in the rotation, in my opinion. Obviously, you got to earn it. What you did in high school means nothing once you get to the college. But I think when you watch him play, you watch him play against elite talent, which he just did in the All-American game, and you watch him dominate, and you watch him win in practice, consistently. You realize this guy, he's ready for this level. So, yeah, Luke Wayfield, defensive end out of Jersey, is phenomenal. We won him in an epic recruiting battle with Ohio State, Penn State. And, he went back and forth, but ultimately he decided to come to USC. He left high school early. He's already at USC now. He skipped the last semester of his senior year. He's at USC, lifting weights. He's in classes. He's in the program, and they've already gotten started with him. So definitely excited to see Luke Wayfield get out there. We need pressure off the end. He's a guy who I absolutely believe will be in the rotation, as I said. And this is one of many phenomenal pieces that we have in this 2026 number one recruiting class. But he's probably the gem or in that class of 3 or 4 that I'd call gems in that number one class.
And, we still got Kneecap and Motor Cities letting us know where these taxes aren't at. Florida, Texas, Washington State, D.C., Florida and Tennessee have no state income tax. So,
yeah.
We already knew, like, for a lot of these guys, when they get their big contracts, they'd rather be in a place like Florida, So, we've already heard that now. Like, it's becoming more prevalent when you just see, the quarterback of the Super Bowl winning team having to pay, more than his bonus that he received for the game is.
Hey, listen, a lot of great things about California, a lot of things that they got wrong and they have to get better at. So, yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
We're human. We don't got it perfect, but yeah, California needs to fix that ASAP.
Yeah.
But we're talking about money, right? I don't know if you've seen this one, right? Rutgers have lost $500 million since joining the Big Ten. 500. How do you lose that much money?
I don't know either.
And be that bad of a program.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is I think the way that the Big Ten is paying these teams is in tiers. So all the teams aren't making the same amount of money from the TV contracts and those deals. And Rutgers is probably either not getting money or getting a very low amount of money when you look at the financial split. And I think that's probably what that is. In addition to that, Rutgers is not a football school, I would say. I think they have talent in that area. I think they have NFL players, but you don't consider them to be a football school. So I don't know that they are a brand that's big enough to make money like a USC or a Michigan or a Texas or a Notre Dame. So, but yeah, they're part of the Big Ten contract probably hasn't kicked in, and that's where that's probably coming from. They're not getting paid yet. Some of these schools when they agreed to join the conference, if they were a lower tier school, then they agreed to not get any money from TV contract for a certain period of years or to get a low amount. And I think that's what we're talking about.
So ND State paid NCAA $5 million to transfer to D1 and another $12.5 to join.
Trust me, that's an investment. That's an investment. They know that they know what they're doing. They're looking to move up. They're looking to get some of this real TV contract money, North Dakota State is a proud football program. They are a very real football program and respected. I mean, they've been the champion. They've been what Alabama, Nick Saban have been to their level of football. So nah, man, listen, they want to move up. They see all the money being made. Forget Rutgers. They feel like they can get paid. So yeah, that they're investing in their financial future for football and sports. Smart.
Yeah, that could be also, but you can make more. Yeah, that's another possibility there. But now with back to the NFL real fast. So we have 5 active quarterbacks that are Super Bowl winners, right? If you had to say, let's just say for argument's sake, the Eagles, Chiefs, Seahawks, Rams, and Aaron Rodgers is still with the Steelers, and none of these guys win Super Bowls. Who would you bet on right now? No free agency, no draft, that has an opportunity to win their first Super Bowl next season.
Outside of that group?
Outside, no repeats. So take away the Chiefs, take away the Eagles, take away Seattle, take away the Rams.
I would probably I would have to say it comes down to Lamar or Josh. That's what I'll be betting on. And if I had to pick one first, I would probably go with Lamar. Yeah,
better team around him. I'm sorry, it's nothing against the Bills. It's nothing against Josh Allen. I agree with you there. I think he has the better team around him.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if Derrick Henry comes back, and which I believe he is. I haven't heard anything other than that. I think he's a big part of that. But yeah, I think Lamar Jackson absolutely would be the guy outside of that list. Listen, he's dynamic. He's amazing. The truth is, in these playoff games in which they've lost, he's played great in a lot of these games. It was one of his teammates dropping the ball or making a bad play with the ball. Lamar was outstanding, even in that Pittsburgh game that they lost at the end of the season. I mean, this guy was lights out. He shows up, but the pieces are there. I think they have everything they need offensively. I think their defense has to get healthy so they can get back on their foot. I believe they had a ton of injuries this year, if I recall. So yeah, Lamar is, to me, and for as much as I love Josh Allen, I mean, I think Lamar. I mean, a lot of people favor Josh. I think Lamar is different, man. I do. I think he's different, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does this coming year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. You guys still got Dan Campbell as your quarterback. Stop it with Detroit. If Detroit fixes the O-line, if they figure out how to get through a season being moderately healthy, we can have this conversation. It has nothing to do with the offensive line. I don't know what it is that Detroit pissed off the NFL gods, because just it don't work in Detroit for whatever reason. Every time there's a star there, they wind up going somewhere else or retiring just because it's that bad there. So, Eddie likes Josh Allen, which is
no, I get it, dude. Listen, Josh is a beast. This is no shade. Josh. I'm not. I mean, you're asking me to split hairs here. Josh is the man, and I really appreciate his game. He was a guy that really won me over, because when he got drafted, the big talk around him was, he's not accurate. And my thing is, how in the hell are you going to make it in the NFL if they're already saying you're not accurate? But he got better. He evolved, man. He coaching. I mean, he really evolved, and I see him put his team on his back sometimes, man. And he is clutch, man. I love me some Josh Allen. I do. I respect the way he plays the game. He reminds me of a guy who could have played in any era. He throws his body in there.
He reminds me of someone who played for Buffalo. If you put his mentality in Josh's body, that's who it is. Reminds me of Doug Flutie, mate.
Yeah. A little bit.
No, it's just a bigger, stronger, faster version of him. If Doug Flutie would have gave himself a perfect body, he'd have gave himself Josh Allen.
Yeah, no, Josh is the man, dude. I believe that Josh has what it takes to win a Lombardi. I do, but just based on the question Steve asked, I think Baltimore has a better roster, and I think Lamar he's just constantly clutch, man. His team around him really fails him. So.
Yeah, I mean, and he's bringing up this, keeping Roquan Smith and giving him that 4-year, $100 million contract probably didn't help them. Listen, you can't tell when a linebacker is going to continue to ascend and play the way that they've been, or when they've hit their ceiling and then they just come falling back to earth, so to speak. So
Yeah, listen, Roquan, man. I liked him in college. He was great coming out of Georgia. I think he's a good player. It's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to give a guy, but we'll see.
We shall see, my friend. We shall, and it's going to be an interesting season next year. Obviously, we don't know when exactly or how healthy Patrick Mahomes is going to be. So, you might have this up for grabs beginning of the year to kind of see.
Steve, watch out for Pat Mahomes, man. They get Eric Bieniemy back and running back.
I already said it. I thought we've already talked about this on Inside the Pigskin. Watch out for Eric Bieniemy to kind of like really, really kind of say like I'm still here, and I'm gonna show you. You guys forgot about me, and this is not only Patty Mahomes' revenge tour, but it's Eric Bieniemy's revenge tour as well. So
yeah, man. Listen, this is Eric Bieniemy is the guy that was holding guys accountable in practice. He's the one that was cussing these dudes out. He was the one that was getting under these dudes' skin. And you need that. You need that. This is a good thing for KC, getting him back in that building, helping push that offense, and ultimately probably transitioning to their head coach. If Pat Mahomes is healthy, this is his league. Period. Yeah. He owns this league. When you look at 7 straight AFC titles, that's come on, who does that? Or AFC championship games. 7 straight AFC championship games. Who does that? That's like LeBron James, what he did in the East. With eight championships in the East. So, yeah, man, that's his level of dominance. It's fair to say, baby goat. It's very brave.
We don't know that. We've seen some guys come back from these injuries faster than that. I don't think it may be November.
9 months.
Could very well be October. He only misses a month. We don't know that yet. Everyone heals differently, so we'll see. But appreciate you tuning in.
We got to think. 10 years ago, Adrian Peterson tore his ACL, came back in 9 months and ran for 2,000 yards.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we don't know. Like everyone heals differently.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so.
And how many times are doctors spot on about this? Please.
When did he get hurt? Was it November he got hurt or December?
Yeah. It was at the end of the season. I would say if you're a Chiefs fan, you hope for October, but you don't want to rush it either. So we'll see what happens as the season tends to get closer and we get through OTA training camps, all this other stuff, and see where Patrick's at. I've already kind of given that he wasn't going to play the first month of the season. I see him sometime in October coming back. I may be wrong. But
bottom line is he'll be back. That's the bottom. He'll be back next season.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
So, a couple other things I kind of wanted to go over. We were talking about the Hall of Fame. We've been talking about the Hall of Fame. And this has nothing to do with the Bill Belichick thing. The class has come out. We already said it. That it had to have Roger Craig this year, and it did. So took him 30 some odd years, but it finally happened. But Drew Brees, Kuechly, Fitz, and Vinatieri, are you happy with this class, or do you feel that there should have been
this is an amazing class. This is an amazing class. There's nobody on that list that you look at and you snub or you turn your nose to. Drew, listen, to the people in New Orleans, Louisiana, he's their GOAT. He's the GOAT to them, and I get that. Drew was amazing, had an amazing career. He took his numbers, his stats. What he did for the city of New Orleans, on and off the field. This dude was it. And then you look at guys like Larry Fitzgerald. When in his prime, this guy was just clutch, man. He was automatic, You don't have too much, he was automatic. Luke Kuechly, he played the game. Listen, if he would have continued to play this game, we're talking about arguably the greatest linebacker in NFL history. He retired early. All right.
9 seasons. How rare is it to see a guy like that get in too?
Right. The kicker. Listen, typically you would say, he's the kicker. Nah, man.
Vinatieri was a special one.
man, listen, as clutch as they come, big moments, mentally tough. I mean, that's that. I mean, he's a football player playing kicker. I love that guy. And
You
and
could
then
put 3 Super Bowls on his back from the Patriots alone.
yeah, yeah. And then you look at, you know, the guy who you were talking about, Roger Craig. First of all, Roger Craig should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. that's the bottom. Let me get that out the way, okay? You just don't understand that he was such a key component to those great Niner teams that had Montana and had Rice, had Rathman, you know, had Oates, or the Jones, I mean, the tight end, Taylor at receiver. Roger Craig was the engine. This is a time when, even though we were talking about arguably the greatest of all time at that point in Joe Montana, none of that flows like it does without Roger Craig, period. The first running back to run for 1,000 yards and receive for 1,000 yards in the same season. People don't understand how this crazy that was at the time, you know, and you haven't seen a bunch of guys do it at all. But this guy, he was the heart of that offense, in my opinion. Yes, they had an outstanding offensive line. You don't hear about that enough. A lot of times that gets thrown in Emmitt Smith. Oh, look how good his O-line was. But no, man, Roger had a very good O-line as well. So, but no, he was a man, physical, knees, ran, you know, powerful, fast, smooth.
He was the one, his knees were damn there in his chest when he ran.
Man, out there, listen, you didn't trust me. You didn't want to tackle Roger Craig. You didn't want to coming out of Nebraska where they, you know, they just breed running backs out there, tough physical running backs. You didn't want to tackle this guy, man. He was. Listen,
I'm gonna pose an impossible question on you right now. I know this is gonna hurt.
Yeah.
You have to pick one. Your boy, Roger Craig, or your other boy, Marcus Allen. You only pick one of them.
That's easy. Marcus Allen. Marcus Allen is the EGOT of football. EGOT, you know, term they use in theater, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and a Tony. Marcus Allen won every single award that you can win as the best player in football from high school all the way through the NFL. He was state player of the year. He won the Heisman, the Maxwell, Doak, NFL Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion, league MVP. He led the league in rushes. I mean, this guy, he was phenomenal. I mean, and I'm not, obviously, you know how I feel about Roger Craig, as I just broke him down too. But Marcus is in an elite category of athletes, period. And just in the reality is, unless you're a football junkie, a sports nut, you know, a lot of these younger people don't realize that. These guys in their 30s, early 40s might not realize that. But Marcus was as high as you can get on the list of athlete in regards to success. But with that said, Roger Craig was the truth. I would take Marcus Allen any day, all day.
Yeah. Now we got a couple more football topics before I kind of change gears here real fast. Now, obviously, just talking about the Hall of Fame. Here's next year's list of potential Hall of Famers. Rob Gronkowski, Ben Roethlisberger, Adrian Peterson, Richard Sherman, Cam Newton, Antonio Brown, Alex Mack, Andre Whitworth, Eric Weidl, Gerald McCoy, Le'Veon Bell, Joe Hayden, Malcolm Jenkins, Brandon Brooks, and Dante Hightower. I'll say, if any one of these guys do you feel that are first ballot Hall of Famers, I basically just said it's the first three.
I completely agree.
Gronk, Ben Roethlisberger, and Adrian Peterson are the only ones I would consider to potentially be first ballot Hall of Famers. Richard Sherman will absolutely be a Hall of Famer. I just don't think he's a first ballot. And I'll also go as far as saying I think both Brandon Brooks and Malcolm Jenkins should be in at some point in time, but I don't think they'll be in within the first handful of years, but they will eventually get in. Your thoughts, brother?
I'll be honest. I agree with the first three. And the next guy other than the first three I would jump to is Antonio Brown. Listen, I know he's a nut. I know the drama and this and that, but people, let's not forget.
They did the TO, brother. You think they're going to really they may wait until he's a senior member.
Well, I think TO did that to himself, but and Antonio's no better in many ways. But just going off of taking morality out of it, taking emotion out of it, and just looking at what they did in the field. If T.O. is not a first ballot Hall of Famer, who the hell is? Okay. People it's one of those. Antonio Brown's kind of like Rodman. A lot of people know him from the circus. They know him from all the antics and all the crazy stuff. They forget he was a mofo. They forget he was dominant. He was a bully in the NBA. They forget this dude was dominating people in the NBA on them boards, and I feel like Antonio Brown's kind of the same way. So many antics and crazy stuff that you forget. He was cold-blooded out there, inconsistent, uncoverable, making catches like, did he catch that? Like consistently. Yeah. I mean, he was a heartbreaker. He was a heartbreaker out there. He was a game changer, game breaker. He was as dominant. He had a 4 or 5 year period as dominant as any receiver to ever play the game, damn near, maybe other than Jerry. So taking all the crap out of it and just looking at the field outside the first three on that list, the next guy to me that I would put in is Antonio Brown.
Yeah, as we were just sitting here, one of the guys in the chats were basically saying he never is going to get in.
He'll definitely get in.
Quit during a game, he'd get in. It's just we have to get past this morality thing. We're only looking at what they did on the field. If we're only talking about what they did on the field, it's without question that he's get in. And I just sit there and said, who did I feel between us that we felt were going to be first ballot? I don't think that. The fact that it's his first year eligible, that's fine. I don't think that he's going to be a first ballot, even though number-wise and impact-wise, he probably should be, but it's just the way that we've already seen how the selection process works is garbage, and it's going to be one of those things.
Yeah, no, man, it's the process.
Yeah, it is his Achilles heel, but it's one of these things like that in sports, when we're talking about the greatest of all time, for whatever reason, we have to keep going back to this morality issue. Oh, well, they did this and they did that.
And that's only a new thing, Steve, because Babe Ruth's in the Hall of Fame. Babe Ruth's story. Have you ever heard any stories about Babe Ruth? He was Diddy. He was Epstein. He was all that. No, I'm being honest. He was all that. But there was no cameras.
It was a different age of media.
That's what I'm saying. What are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? He was, and I ain't got no beef with Babe. He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Not just what about who was a real Ty Cobb?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. He was a horrible.
He was a real ornery SOB. From what I've heard. So it's like we hold these guys that they need to have statues built. No, we have to recognize that they were great. They were amazing. They were Hall of Fame players. So I think this whole morality clause that we as voters, as people, who talk about, listen, put that aside. Unless they unless it was like one of these Chris Benoit situations where he murders her family and kills himself. Those are the only things that I would sit there and say that could kind of disclude you from these type of conversations. So it may be his Achilles heel. We've already discussed that we kind of feel that all of the sports, not just football, not just baseball, need to kind of revamp how they go about the selection process for their giving Hall of Fame voting ballots, however you want to kind of word that. So we'll see how that all plays out over the next few years. We'll see.
Yeah, nah, man. Listen,
Eddie's comment to him: a Hall of Famer needs 7+ years of Hall of Fame type season, unless the person's career is cut short by injuries. That's where you go with it. That's where you listen. I don't know if it needs to be 7. I'm not one of those guys that said we need this amount of consistency out of this player to say the Hall of Fame. I think the other thing is how they changed the game, how the game changed to deal with who they were as a player, as a person. I think if you affect the game in that way where they're changing the way the game is played around you, that you need to take that into consideration. So
yeah, no, absolutely right. I think it's tough to put a number of years on that. I think it's about greatness, man, like your level of greatness and impact and dominance and again, how did you impact and change the game? So, with that said, I think Antonio Brown absolutely needs to be in the Hall of Fame. There's no way you have a Hall of
I
Fame.
don't think you give the players a piece of the voting action. I think they should have the majority's share of the. Do I think writers should have a share? Absolutely. Uno. I think there should be a particular person of media that consistently rotates. That not every year that it's not the same guy from your sports writers guild or however you want to do it. They do have a vote, but it shouldn't be the lion's share's voice. Also, the NFL. I said it again. I think they should also have a revolving door of alumni, Hall of Famers, etc., to also vote as well. Like where we don't have these situations where you have a 102-year-old Bill Polian, still salty and ornery, finding ways to keep guys out. I think there should be a revolving door, so there's no way that you can partner in with these people. So we're going to keep this guy out. That's not a thing. You have to find a way to keep it real, to keep it legit, to not sit there and be as of right now, the NFL has been getting made fun of at least for the last 2.5 weeks. I mean, we're talking about that. Let's talk about the Pro Bowl because that's an absolute joke. The viewership was down 60%. I wonder why. The Pro Bowl means nothing anymore. It's a flag football game.
Steve, man, listen, when I was a kid, I used to love the Pro Bowl. Because it was a real game. Right? People don't understand. It was a real game. The players played hard.
And it wasn't just a game itself, dude. The skills competition they did the day before the game was always the best part of watching it.
Yeah, it was great. They used to have the bench press contests, and I used to love that. My dad played in a bunch of he played in 5 Pro Bowls, and again, it was a game back then. Now, now it's, then it evolved to just powder puff and pushing around. And then once Drew Brees got hurt, the game really changed. Once he got hurt in the Pro Bowl, you saw the guys play much differently at that point, to be honest with you. So it's unfortunate, man, what it's come down to. I think the fact that we have more information now about concussions and we realize the body can only take so many hits, you have to ask yourself, is it smart to have the game?
I'm going to continue to say it, Marvin. Make it the Hall of Fame game. Make the Pro Bowl the Hall of Fame game. Because then you have today's stars meeting yesteryear's superstars, Hall of Famers, etc., and have it freaking mean something. Because right now it's a flag football game where I think they said there was like 31,000 people that watched 3,100. I'm not sorry, not 31. 3,100 people were given tickets to the Pro. No one wants to watch it anymore. The only way you change it is you give the players you do it at the beginning of the season, not the end of the season, where playoffs take guys out of it, injuries takes guys out of it, that you have a better chance of who is actually voted in to actually play in said game, where you don't have Jalen Hurts as the 5th alternate playing in a Pro Bowl game. It's ridiculous. There's no way the 5th alternate should play. Or on the other side of the ball, Shedeur Sanders, who has no business to be in any Pro Bowl game, let alone Rookie of the Year conversation, to play in that game. It's ridiculous. It's a pageantry show. It means nothing. It's a waste of money at this point in time for the NFL. It's a wasted investment. You have to revamp the whole thing. Go ahead, brother.
No, I mean, obviously they're losing money there on that viewership, but it's probably still profitable to some degree. I would think so, but no, man, it's just the bottom line is just the fact that they just stopped playing the game. And I think it's really more. I don't know if this is player driven, man, because you see the same thing in the NBA. The All-Star game used to be an amazing game, and now it's just guys is playing around, shooting threes, and playing with their friends. It's a different situation, man. It hurts, man. I used to look forward to watching all the best players in the NFL playing that game. This is before guys were making the mega contracts. So getting that check was a big deal. Getting that check, being the winner in the Pro Bowl, that was something relevant. That was a nice little check, whatever they got. But now it's just different, man. Now we have guys, again, making, signing $500 million contracts and Pat Mahomes, and it's a different day. The players viewed much differently. And the All-Star game obviously is just taking a hit on the fact that they don't want to get these guys hurt, and the guys, don't want to go out there and get hurt, and it sucks, But it's tough, man. It's tough for us who grew up watching it.
Yeah, it is, and I'll continue to say this. I think it should be a part of the Hall of Fame games. Just my opinion. I may be wrong.
Well, I don't think they would do that because when you look at it, what you're hearing now is that they want to cut down the preseason games. They want to add 2 more regular season games. So now we're going to 2 preseason games and 18 regular season games at some point. That's what Robert Kraft leaked out a couple weeks ago. I mean, they want more meaningful games. And I don't think the players are really excited about playing in these games, especially this new era of players who didn't grow up watching the Pro Bowl being played. So
yeah, it's sad. It might definitely be going away. It might just be an achievement you get, and just no one ever plays in the actual game. And if that's the case, then the Pro Bowl should go away altogether, and we should only just be doing voting for who's the All Pros. So
yeah.
But speaking of sad things, I don't know if you've seen this. This is I think it's at least a week old or so. But the FBI has opened an investigation into Colts owner Jim Irsay's death, saying that they don't feel it's accidental, and they're gonna be going after somebody really soon as far as that goes. And man,
that is such when you hear that, you don't know what to think. I mean, you think did somebody kill him? Because
I think medical malpractice was the first thing I think of.
Oh, okay.
That's what I think of at first. It's kind of like, all right, what happened with Hulk Hogan? That's what's going on now, right? Like, it was not super surprising he died with all the surgeries and stuff like he had like that. But from what you're hearing after the fact that there was some medical malpractice going on, I think this might be a similar type situation where he was having medical issues and et cetera. There may be some type of doctor error or given wrong medication, too much medication, et cetera, that kind of led to Jim's passing. I don't think there's, he wasn't murdered or anything like that. It's just
okay. Because again, when you have a headline like that, so many things run through your mind.
Exactly.
I thought they were trying to say like one of his kids off them for the money or somebody in the family. No, I'm serious. That's right.
I know.
I watched a lot of Netflix, so I get this was in my mind, and I'm thinking someone must have offed them so they can get their inheritance early. Again, I watched a lot of Netflix, so no, man, you don't know how to take that. I never even thought of medical malpractice being it, but one thing we don't ever consider: doctors mess up all the time. They mess up all the time. Whether in different areas they mess up all the time, and we think because they have these white coats and because they graduated from medical school. And
I'm gonna tell you this much: we were just talking about fighter, right? I just interviewed Jessica Borga. She fought in October in New Jersey, and she had a fractured orbital bone. She's having surgery again in 2 weeks to fix the plates that are or in fact holding her eye in place, because one of them's pinching an optical nerve. Whenever she looks up, her vision is doubled and blurry. Wow. So it's like we talk about doctors, they're human, they make mistakes, something happens, you don't realize this moves, this shifts, whatever. Like, it's not to sit there and say that doctor is this evil negligent person and they did this. No, there are human things happen, but this is why doctors have insurance too.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. I hate it for the kids. I think it's hard to go through the healing process when these kind of headlines and realities pop up. So, I just thoughts and prayers to his kids and his family, those who are impacted by this.
Yeah, I do. Especially, obviously, his daughter's been in the limelight this year as being someone there on the sideline, being a absolutely 100%, both fisted into the muck with her team. It's something exciting to see. And then you see something like this, you can only imagine how it affects the collective of what their family dynamic is. So,
right. Yeah.
Or what happened with Matthew Perry? I don't know, man. Matthew Perry made some suggestions that if anything happened to him, it wasn't by medical malpractice, that somebody was coming to get him. So we don't know, and I like to reserve my assumptions until I have all the facts that can be presented to me before I do those things. But
now, Steve, Matthew Perry, that's the guy from Friends, right?
Yes.
Have you ever watched Friends before?
Parts. I could never sit down and get through all those seasons. I wasn't like the during that time, I wasn't like the sitcom TV guy. Like I wouldn't, it would be like in passing, maybe catch an episode here and there, but was never really.
Hey, I'm proud to say I've never watched an episode of Friends in my life. Okay. Anyway, as you going through half the season, giving up on it. It's all good.
Hey, listen, listen. There's some shows I don't watch. There's some I do. Like some people are Yellowstone fans. Some people, they like Landman, or you follow everyone has their own, I guess, cup of tea when it comes to watching TV programs. So it's you take it for what it is, and you do what you got to do. But moving on, last week we were talking about Lindsey Vonn. Now, obviously, I know by this time what happened, right? So she goes on her first run, and it didn't end well for Lindsey. Obviously, she's a warrior. We were just talking about the combat sports athlete. She wanted to go out on her shield, and she did. First run did not go the way she wanted it to. She had a fall, injured herself even more, but she basically said there's no other way she would have rather gone out. What are your thoughts on this? Because I know a lot of people are kind of basically well, she was making a selfish choice, this, that, and everyone has their opinion on it. Listen, I'll always side with the athlete. If the athlete wants to, they know what they sign up for. They know what the possibilities coming when they go in a ring, go in the arena, go down a slope, et cetera, et cetera. So what were your thoughts on, obviously we talked last week about her decision to go, but the end result, and unfortunately she had to be airlifted out, had to have surgery, all that other stuff.
So. If you notice, the overwhelming majority of the people who criticize and naysayers and she shouldn't have done this, shouldn't have done that, most of these people are the 99%. Meaning they've never tried to do anything elite. They've never tried to get to the top of the industry. They're genuinely at their core not competitors. You know what I'm saying? Because anybody who's a real competitor, anybody who really has fight in them, and their life resume says they have fight in them. Anyone who's ever competed at the highest level of any aspect of their industry would tell her to go for it. Would tell her to do it, and no one's criticizing the fact that she went for it and it just didn't work out. That's part of it, you know what I mean? But you don't, it's like Michael Jordan said, when he thinks about shooting the ball, he doesn't think about missing the shot. You think about hitting the shot every single time, and that's how you practice, and that's how you train, and that's just how you think. So she's a competitor who still has some dog left. She still has some gas in the tank, and that desire to be great was still there. I think it's always in you. I think it fades as you get older and you get away from your chosen field a little bit, but she thought she had a little game left, and she went out there, risked it all as you're supposed to, and it just didn't work out. And that's just how it goes. As a competitor, as a competitor / former competitor, I love it. I got this. This makes me think highly of her. I think this should show you, that she's just somebody who went out there and had the heart of a champion, and it just didn't work out. But I respect it completely. People should look at her as an example as to how to be. Don't be afraid to go for it. Doesn't matter your age and all that stuff. Stop making excuses. So yeah, man, I don't think it's selfish. I don't think anything like that. I think she's a champion. I think she has the heart of a champion. She's a competitor. It's a lot of times you don't know how to turn that off. We've seen that before, right?
Yeah, so, you have some athletes just have that unstoppable will. Like it doesn't matter if it's going to hurt them, hinder them, whatever. All they have in sight is the goal that's at the end of the tunnel that they've set for themselves. And she set a goal, and obviously blown knee didn't do anything. It took the actual event and the hill itself to kind of sit there and say, young lady, you need to sit down because this is the end of the road, unfortunately. Some again, some athletes want to go out on their shield. Some of them have to be told to step away. Lindsey wanted to do it on her terms, and again, I don't pretend that I'm this athlete or I'm an expert on anything. Again, I'm with you. It gives me more respect for her because it sucks, having to go out like that in front of all your friends, hundreds of thousands of watchers, viewers, millions of viewers, whatever. It's hard to sit there and have to fail on that type of level and still stand up, dust yourself off, and say that you're proud of yourself for regardless of what happened. So you can hate on Lindsey Vonn all you want. You can doubt her, you can question her. There's a whole lot of things you can question her for, but it was her last chance. She went for it, and that's what she was going to do. We already knew what that was. So Eddie, right on the same boat. It was probably her last chance. She was going for her last opportunity to get another gold medal. So I'm not going to fault her for that. And speaking of gold medals, did you see what happened? Oh man, I hope the video plays on your end. Okay, this will take about a minute and a half. I want to see if you see this. Right.
So there's the medal, and there's the ribbon. Here's the little piece that is supposed to go in the ribbon to hold it in the medal. And yeah, it came apart.
Some Olympians are celebrating their wins with broken medals.
It's real. I broke it.
After winning Team USA's first gold medal of the Games in downhill skiing, Breezy Johnson showcased her medal, which had separated from its ribbon.
Do not jump in them.
It broke.
Meanwhile, Germany's ski team were jumping in celebration when one member's medal slipped off its ribbon. And figure skater Alyssa Liu said her gold medal doesn't even need a ribbon. These medals are the most expensive in Olympic history, thanks to the price of gold and silver skyrocketing. Chief Games Operations Officer Andrea Francisci says they're looking into the problem.
Siamo a conoscenza della situazione, abbiamo visto le immagini, ovviamente stiamo cercando di capire nel dettaglio se esiste un problema, ma ovviamente abbiamo massima attenzione a questa vicenda, essendo la medaglia il sogno degli atleti, e quindi vogliamo che ovviamente nel momento della consegna tutto sia assolutamente perfetto, perché lo riteniamo davvero il momento più importante, quindi ci stiamo assolutamente.
So you heard that this time?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, we have the most expensive gold and silver medals in the Olympic game histories, and they can't even keep them on the ribbon.
Yeah, it's such a horrible look, for such an epic moment, such an accomplishment, such a high level of achievement, and the whole medal situation is huge. So it's sad, man. I hate it. It's they'll get it worked out, but obviously,
yeah. But it's like if you're one of those competing, like I'm beyond furious. I'm like, wait, I sacrificed 4 years of my life training, doing this to hone my skills at this sport, and you can't even give me a medal that stays on the ribbon. Yeah. Like what happened to making the medal so the ribbon just slips around and the ribbon's fastened and sewn back up? Like
yeah, no, it's kind of weird. It's just weird that's something that they couldn't get right, the ribbon and the medal. So I like I said, it's just a bad look considering what that look is. And
you point, you laugh, you move on, but at the same time, it's like, man, how have the mighty have fallen, so to speak, right?
Yeah. Now I want to know, where was that made? I hope it's not made in the USA. That better be made in China.
Eddie got it right. Made by a cheap company.
Yeah,
that's probably what happened, Eddie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it or try to paint the Olympics in a certain light. And while we're talking about the Olympics, I gotta talk about this stupid snowboarding kid, right? I don't know if you've seen it, but no. he made some comments. Basically, they were asking him about representing his country. He's like, it doesn't matter what's going on in my country right now. I'm here representing my friends, my family, etc., etc. And nobody was happy with his opinion. Obviously, Trump had something to say about this. Regardless, Trump, his word salad is never anything I want to talk to. But Jake Paul had something to say. I don't always jump on Jake for some, but one of his girlfriend is an Olympic speed skater. She won gold, right? And his message basically just told him to shut the bleep up for all true Americans. If you want to represent this, if you don't want to rep this country, then go elsewhere. And he also made a statement after the fact, basically. This is like him double down on it. There's so much great about America, but there are always things that could be better. One of the amazing things that makes this country so amazing that we have the right of freedom to point that out. The best part of the Olympics is it brings people together, and so many of us are divided. We need more than ever. Cannot wait to represent Team USA when it competes. Thanks everyone for the support. Well, you can't sit there and say that you're only representing your friends and your family. Then you want to sit there and say, how great of a country we have. Look, we're all entitled to our opinions, right? But if you feel that type of way, either one, keep that in between your ears, keep it between yourself. When you go and do the Olympics, there's two things. Yes, you're representing yourself, but you're also representing your country, which a lot of people would die for that opportunity to represent their country against people who are representing their country. That's what makes the Olympics so great, regardless if we're talking about summer games, winter games, whatever. If you feel like you don't want to represent your, then don't go. But even if, like I said, if you feel that, don't say that to the media. Now you make yourself the center of attention instead of your fellow skiers, your fellow bobsledders, hockey team, whatever. Now you're the center of attention, and we have to deal with this nonsense.
Yeah, I hear you. I feel differently. I look at it like, we have a president who uses no filter with what he gives to the media, what he puts on social media. And no apologies for it either. And I think for many people, it's hurtful, it's embarrassing. And I think what the kid basically is saying is, yeah, I'm American, but don't look at me as if I'm an American supporting everything that our American president is putting out there, because I don't. And I think different people heard different things. When you heard what he said, Steve, your first thought was he shouldn't be saying that. When I heard what he said, I was happy he was saying that. I didn't take that as him being anti-American. I didn't take that as anything hate. I think he's just embarrassed by our current leadership and how our leadership is expressing themselves. And it's become polarizing. Everybody in the world is aware that he depicted, Barack Obama and his wife as monkeys and baboons, which historically is known to be just plain out racist, and a very ugly thing. And then everything that's happening with ICE, a lot of people don't agree with that. So, yeah, I've always been in favor of athletes using their platform to speak their truth. I believe in freedom of speech. I do. I didn't, and I like the kid's follow up. I mean, I hate that he definitely got backlash from MAGA and many other people. But I'm okay with athletes expressing themselves, speaking their truth. It is a lot of people, and actually, I think most people are okay with it as long as what's being said, even if it's profound, is in alignment with what they think. We pick and choose what we think should and shouldn't be said based upon our own personal beliefs. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I recognize it all, man. I see it all, and it's all good. I ain't got no problems with what he said at all. I got major issues with how our leader communicates and what he communicates and how people just, are passive about that. Because to me, it's just blatantly goes against everything that is America. But yeah, this is the times we live in, baby. That's what it is. Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'm not a supporter of Orange. I don't even call him by his name because I really don't care for Trump one way or another. So it's not like I'm not Mr. Political either. But like it's one of these things where I think one of those things is you either proud of your country or you're not. If you're competing, listen, make it about what you're competing about. If you're using it as a political standpoint, I just can't get behind that.
Really, Steve, all he said is my family is super dysfunctional, like super dysfunctional. That's all he said. Did he say he doesn't love them? Did he say he ain't down? No, think about that. Did he say he ain't down for them? Did he say he wouldn't fight and kill for this family? he just said that they're super dysfunctional, dude. You know, and don't look at my crazy cousin and my uncle and think, you know, that's me. You know, that's my people, kind of. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm serious. That's all he said is his family.
I got you.
I think most Americans, most people can understand that.
Now, we got 2 dysfunctional topics that we're going to get to right here, right? So again, you know, we defend our family at all costs, right? Somebody you know, insults our kids, insults our wife, insults our mama. There's going to be repercussions, right? Mm-hmm. Did you hear about the Penn State hockey player?
No.
So he basically goes out to this bar, right? He's at his bar with his mom, and someone basically had called his mother the W word, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So so Gavin basically turns around and, you know, hits homeboy with a 1-2, puts him down, winds up getting arrested for it, right? As discovery was coming out that, you know, the situation was incited because these kids were heckling around, calling his mother all kinds of names, and, you know, Gavin stood up and defended his mom's honor. Well, as of last week, the you know, the district attorney had dropped all charges against him, and you know, let the litigation kind of come to an end. Listen, if I'm at a place with my mom and you start hurling obscenities at her, best believe you're going to get your chicklets checked. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I guess, you know, Steve, in these small towns where there's smoke, there's fire. First question you got to ask: is she a W? You don't know this lady, and I'm not saying she is. You don't know what these kids know. You got a lot of cougars out here. You don't know, you know, what website these college kids met his mama on. I'm just saying. All right. Now, if she's not a W, and these are just college boys being, you know, frat boys doing what they do. Yeah. Come on, man. Kids is cruel. You know, come on, kids will call you fat and ugly and then go do a cartwheel. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't, you know, your kids is cruel even in college, man. It's tough. It would be hard to sit there and let somebody, you know, abuse your mother, have, you know, say horrible things to your mother. I don't knock this young man for handling business at all. You know, I don't knock him at all. I'm happy that the DA dropped the charges on that situation.
Doesn't mean that these kids aren't going to file civil suits against him. We know how this game works. We know how this game works.
Yeah. Everybody wants to get paid. I get it. But no, I don't knock the kid. You know, I don't know if there's a deeper story that we don't know about.
There's always something that we don't know about. Let's be honest.
I'm saying you got to ask the questions. You got to ask the questions, Steve. You know,
sir.
It's fair. It's fair. It's fair.
That's right.
I've seen too many crazy things. Grew up watching Maury Povich, man. You know, come on, man. I've seen too many crazy things.
Listen, we grew up on Maury Povich.
Yeah. You don't know what that was. You don't know what mama. Hey, was the mama fine? I mean, these things matter. You know what I'm saying?
That's probably what it was, man. He was probably jelly that he wanted some mommy.
And he in college. His mama what, about 40? Hey, man, 40, you still got it, baby. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So, yeah.
And speaking of litigations, I don't know if you've seen, but that Lions fan is pressing charges on DK Metcalf. There is going to be a civil suit being put up against the Detroit Lions, the NFL, and the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. He's suing them for defamation.
Yeah, DK shouldn't have done that. Obviously, at the same time, I don't know what was said. DK said it was some racial slurs out there. You know.
He's still sticking to that. He called him his government name. Listen, I don't believe it. I'm sorry. Until I hear exact audio of it coming out, I don't believe it.
If that's the standard, then nobody's going to be guilty in these situations. And that's tough. But at the end of the day, I'd still say, no matter what he was called, DK should not have put his hands on this dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not how you handle it. In that situation, in a professional environment, which the stadium is supposed to be.
Tell security and get him tossed.
Exactly. That's it. That's it. Get him tossed, get him banned. You know, but you know, listen, at the end of the day, you know, you got a lot of black men, a lot of people different ethnic backgrounds that have been subjected to a lot of horrible things. And so everybody, listen, he's a human being. You can call him a professional, you can call him an NFL player, but you call somebody a certain name, certain word, you're dealing with human beings. Humans get emotional. DK got emotional. You know what I'm saying? So it's a tough situation. You hate to see it. DK going to end up writing that check, though.
Unfortunately, that's what it's going to cost him.
But you know what it is? You got good problems when you can write that check and keep it moving. Because he's going to be able to keep it moving. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And then you got problems like this young man. You know, I don't know if you've seen over the weekend, James Pierce Jr. had a domestic situation. You know, apparently used his vehicle to prevent his girlfriend from going to a police station. His legal team basically comes out, you know, that Mr. Pierce remains his innocence and urges the public to understand that while allegations have power to shape the narrative, that it's hardly the full, complete story, which is something we were just talking about. We, you know, everything that is kind of put out there isn't always true, but you know, he was arrested. You know, another bad look for the Atlanta Falcons organization, as you know, he was having some issues with his girlfriend there, and you know, it spilled out of the home, went into the streets, and police had to be involved. It's not a good situation, and sometimes, man, whatever it is, you just got to let it run its course, man. You can't be jumping in your vehicle chasing your girlfriend around the city, man. That's not a good look.
Man, listen, I was watching one of these ID channel documentaries, and they were interviewing a prisoner, and he said that like 90% of men are in prison over drugs or a woman. You know what I'm saying? When I was a freshman at USC, Keith Burns I was a DB my first half of freshman year, and he used to say kitty cat is undefeated. He called it P. You know the rest of it. He said it's undefeated. When you're young and just immature, I mean, so this guy obviously is in a relationship with somebody, and it got emotional and crazy like it does for a lot of young people. Unfortunately, this is something that occurs too much. Yeah, it is a negative headline for the NFL. They don't need more of this. The reality is, in big picture, the NFL, I think, has a great record with their players in regards to crime and criminal activity, stuff like that. But everything that happens, no matter who you are, it's on ESPN. You can be the third string punter. It's on ESPN. It blows up, you know, as if you're, you know, so it's a bad look, man. I'm certain that this young man will learn from this, get past this. But yeah, man, these relationships, man, these dudes, and we've all been there. We've all been young and in love. We've all had moments, maybe not like this, but we've all had moments where we reacted in a way that we're probably not proud of. You know?
I can relate because I had this situation. I was dating this girl and was barely in my 20s, man. You know, moved out of mom's house, was staying with her, and it was getting toxic, man. And I knew it was getting toxic. And I'm trying to leave, right? And she just wasn't letting me leave, right? You know, this woman threw herself down the steps. Because I wanted to leave. Next thing you know, cops called, click, I'm in jail. I'm like, I didn't touch her. So it's like, yeah, like we're like, listen, you're right. Like it's over a woman or it's over drugs, man. You know, we need to find our way to not be in these situations. Thankfully, when it came to me, I spent my 72 hours in the dunk tank, so to speak. Got out, went to court. Had everything pled out and taken care of. Didn't have to do any community service or anything, and then just we had to stay away from each other, which she didn't do. I was being stalked for the next 5 years of my life. So
wow. Yeah, hey, listen, we should have everybody. It goes back. We should have known from Adam and Eve.
Yeah, right. It's like those red flags are there, but it's like, damn, she does this really, really well. So I mean, I'm gonna let that slide for right now. You can't let it slide, fellas. As soon as you see the red flags, run.
Yeah, but then then she does that thing. She does that one trick again. And now you're back. She does that one thing that you like.
Don't ever go back for closure either, because you know what's going to happen. You go back for closure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man. But pitchers and catchers reported yesterday. Baseball will be back in a matter of a few weeks. Are you excited for this baseball season?
I'm excited to baseball again. I'm a football guy so heavy.
I
I
know,
like
but
baseball. I like
this
baseball. I
is
like
giving
the
something to
Yankees.
fill your time with, so
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
not so bored.
Growing up in LA and New York, I definitely like the Yankees and the Dodgers. Obviously, I'm excited about what's happening with the Dodgers right now. And Ohtani, I mean, that's just such an amazing time to be alive. To be able to watch a player of his caliber who is in the Babe Ruth conversation, to be alive for that is something special. So, yeah, I am excited about it and looking forward to seeing some big primetime games with the Dodgers and ultimately just looking to see, what they do in September, October, Dodgers and Yankees. So, yeah, I'm excited. Obviously, no more football. So this is when I get into the other sports a little bit. Baseball will be one of those.
Baseball being one of those. Last week it was we were on, and it was the last day of the trade deadline. I'm official. Daryl Morey is the worst GM in Philadelphia. I'm going to stick to that. The fact that you trade your first round draft pick last year for more picks to make a trade, and then you don't make a trade, is clearly to say that I'm trying to get under the luxury tax, and I don't want my fan base to know it. I think it'd be interesting to see how the rest of the basketball season plays out. I think the East is wide open.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anyone. I don't think Minnesota is going to stop OKC out there in the West. I think they have a real chance to be, the first back-to-back champs of the 2020s.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
yeah. They got real team, real culture. Their superstar is a great guy, great team guy, no ego, healthy ego, I should say. They are built with all the things that you need to be a champion, to be a repeat champion. You listen to their players, interviews, and again, and it's team. They're talking heavy team, So yeah, man. I'm a Laker fan, right? So I'm a LeBron fan as well. So I'm hoping that they can make a run, something can get figured out. I think they got players, but when they're all healthy, I think they're okay. But man, OKC is the truth, bro.
They just stole Jared McCann for us for a late first round draft pick and a third, or no, 2 2s. I'm sorry, it's in 2 2s.
Yeah.
So you added another wing that could put the bucket in the net. He was just getting healthy too. So I think you have to take a real look at to see. I don't think anyone's really going to challenge OKC. It may be their year again. I don't know if your Lakers can do it. Minnesota couldn't do it last year. I doubt they're going to be able to do it this year. I haven't seen them gotten any better, at least in my opinion. I don't see them very often, so I can't sit there and say one way or another. But as we switch from football to some of the other sports, like I said, we were just talking the Olympics. You got baseball kicking back up. We're getting into the meat and potatoes of the basketball season now. So it's going to be interesting. Going to be an interesting few months. We still got the draft coming up in March, so we'll see what happens over the next month or so, and kind of go from there. But as we get ready to wrap this one up, Marvin, your final thoughts, your parting shots for today.
Final shots. Listen. So yeah, we're going to the first weekend. No football. It'll be okay. We'll get that figured out. I always do. It's always a tough. The off season is always tough, but like you said, it's 24/7, 365. So I'll have some stuff to look at, and yeah, I am looking forward to seeing what happens with my Dodgers and Yankees this year. So, there are things I'm looking forward to as we get to the end of football season. Football season comes to a close, but yeah, how about my boy Sammy D, USC Trojans out there winning Super Bowls?
Like I said, man, I predicted he'd be able to do it. I think he's gonna be able to do it, and hopefully Seattle does right by him, and
pay that man.
Yeah, exactly. Pay that man. He's been through the grinder, so to speak, and we'll see what the future holds for Seattle. that defense ain't going anywhere anytime soon. So,
No,
also while we're on, a big shout out to D-Law, man. We were talking about getting out of New York and winning Super Bowls. The minute he leaves the Dallas Cowboys, he becomes a world champion. Cannot not make that a point today. Obviously, the Eagles fan and me got to throw some barbs at Cowboys Nation, so to speak.
Yeah, no, good for him, man. I like him. Good player.
Did you pay attention to media day, media week for the Super Bowl this year?
Nah, not so much. What did I miss?
So obviously Micah Parsons was there doing his podcast, right? So two things that were confirmed. One, he had AJ Brown on. AJ Brown ain't going nowhere. So the Patriots, the Ravens, everyone who thinks that the Eagles are going to trade him, it's not happening. You got anything from that podcast, that's one thing you definitely going to get. The other was the Eagles and Micah Parsons trade almost happened.
Really?
That the fact that the thing that stopped it from happening wasn't that there was an Eagle tax. No, it's because Jerry Jones wanted Carter. He wanted Jalen Carter, and as soon as he's seen Jalen Carter, he's like, no, I'm playing with him. I'm not. You're not. No, I'm playing next to him. So that's what kind of held that one up. That
I couldn't imagine.
Think about that one for a second. Then Micah Parsons probably would have been an Eagle, but this is before obviously the Jalen Phillips trade and all that. So that would have been interesting because I don't think.
It would have been like how he struck again,
Not just how he struck again, but that would have been, at least the next 4 or 5 years of having Micah Parsons absolutely terrorizing the Dallas Cowboys fan base twice a year.
Yeah. That just would have been that just puts them over the top, man. Even if you take away the other player that they trade, Parsons is still young. He's still young.
27, 28, something like that.
He's still young. I mean, a guy like that, he's they pay you a lot of money to chase quarterbacks, and his skill set is getting better over the year. The game is slowing down to him every year.
He still had 12 sacks last year, or was still missing the last 6 games or so.
So that's my point. So he's young. This guy literally probably has another 75 to 100 sacks in him. That's realistic. I mean, I see him playing for a while. He's one of these guys that seems like he takes care of his body. He understands the business opportunity. He's just an asset to anybody who has him. Green Bay, just having a pass rusher, puts Green Bay, in position every year over and over again, man. So, yeah, if he stays healthy, man, one of the best trades in Green Bay history, along with Reggie White.
Reggie White was the first big free agent. I don't think
he was a free agent. Yeah, he was a free agent.
There was no trade there. Eagles are just stupid enough not to be able to not to find a way to keep Reggie White. And what was it? 4 or 5 years later, he's a Super Bowl champion. So
yep.
And arguably one of the best interior exterior pass rushers this game has ever seen. So. Reggie was a rare one, but that'll put a wrap on today's episode. We'll be back next week with Ben. Ben, me, yourself. Tomorrow, I got Esteban, the Mohawk Rodriguez, BKFC Cruiserweight will be joining me, and there is an additional episode of the Fan in the End next week on President's Day, as we got the Bishop McDevitt quarterback Sebastian Williams should be hopping on with us. So we're gonna continue to keep doing the fun interviews, keeping pushing out fun content for everyone here on the South Florida Tribune Media Network. Guys, make sure you're hitting that QR code, giving the YouTube channel some love, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the program. Other than that, I'm Steve. That's Marvin. This was another episode of The Fan in the End. We will catch you guys in the rebound, my friend. Peace out.
Take care.